Well, this Saturday will mark the 15th anniversary of the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. This annual bike and run event has raised, believe it or not, more than $75 million for cancer research. And for so many, participating is deeply personal. My colleague Lauren Pastrana introduces us to one man who rides in support of a family of cancer survivors.
Robert Merlin is a cancer fighter, even though he's never been diagnosed himself. He's been the son, brother, father, and husband of someone battling cancer.
Is there any family, sadly, that hasn't been touched by cancer in one way or another?
Michelle and Robert Merlin's daughter, Elisa, was diagnosed with a brain tumor almost 7 years ago, just months after giving birth to her own daughter.
I was in shock and fear, and just sitting there while she's having her initial examination, which was at a different hospital, and there was a plan suggested to us for care or for treatment that we didn't like, it didn't make sense to us.
That's when their primary physician recommended going to Sylvester for a second opinion. Elisa had surgery to remove the tumor, followed by radiation, and she's now cancer-free.
It's just a great relationship, and we can't express our appreciation enough to what they have done for Elisa and our family.
You know, some patients view themselves as just numbers. Dr. De La Fuente, I know, views Elisa as family, and Elisa the same in return.
But this wasn't the last time the Merlins turned to Sylvester for treatment. In 2019, Michelle herself was diagnosed with breast cancer. Robert's sister also tackled the disease. Both caught it early and are healthy today. His mother had lung cancer, but sadly, it was too advanced. With so many loved ones touched by cancer, it's no wonder Robert, a second-generation South Floridian and lifelong Dolphins fan, hopped on his bike 14 years ago and started riding for a cure.
It was 100 miles the first day, stay overnight in Palm Beach, and then ride 75 back.
This year he's pedaling for 54 miles. Robert has helped raise more than $250,000, making him one of the event's heavy hitters. He uses email to make the ask and says no donation is too small.
I'm competitive and I am goal-oriented, so if I set the goal, I want to achieve it. And I've set high goals for raising money, and I've done pretty well in my efforts. It's a large amount of money. It's never enough because there's always more work that can be done, but I know that all sorts of people I will never meet are being helped, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Let's do a deep dive now with my colleague Lauren Pastrana. And Lauren, this piece really illustrates how cancer touches really just about every family that you can think of.
It really does. So many of us have our personal connections. For me, and why I'm running in the 5K at DCC is for my mother, who's a cancer survivor. But not everyone has that immediate family member. But I'm sure if you look in your extended family or in your friend group or your friends' families, there is someone there who has been touched by cancer in one way or another. And that's why this event draws so many people, because so many can unfortunately relate to it.
And we're blessed to have Sylvester Cancer Center right here in South Florida, and they do some terrific work. And they have really raised the bar in terms of cancer treatment, haven't they?
Yeah, they sure have. What I have learned in all the stories that I've done with Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center over the years is that they are focused on personalized cancer care. I've asked doctors there, why is it so hard to find a cure? Why don't we hear the word cure in terms of cancer? But we are seeing people survive every single day, which is great. And the way they explain it to me is like, you don't treat, the Mercedes with the parts of a BMW is how it's described. So basically, not every cancer treatment works for every type of cancer. So what they've learned at Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center is that they can use different forms of treatment on different patients with their different types of cancer. That can be very effective for one person, maybe not for the next person, but then that next breakthrough is coming that can help that other person down the road.
Yeah, because for so many years people were afraid more of the cure than the disease itself, but
Absolutely.
I think that has changed quite a bit.
Yeah, it's not so much, people think of chemo and radiation and get scared, but there's so much more, many more options than that. It's no longer chemo where you're hooked up to an IV for hours at a time. There's oral chemo that you can take and from the comfort of your home, and the side effects aren't as scary and as grim as a lot of people have dealt with over the years. There's people who go through chemo now and don't even lose their hair. There's so much out there, and it's thanks to all this research and, of course, course, that's thanks to the funding from events like the DCC.
I remember I was there year one, and I can still see Jim Mad Dog Mandich there, and of course his brave fight, and he was really the inspiration behind this. It's hard to believe it's been 15 years, but for people who have not been out there to experience this, Lauren, describe it.
It's just such an inspirational and motivational feeling to be surrounded by people who are all united for the same cause. We all have that connection out there, whether you're someone like, Robert Merlin, who is, riding on behalf of family members, or what's also cool about this event is you have the survivors themselves taking part in it. And Sylvester actually offers a training program for these survivors to train for the DCC. So we'll be seeing a lot of them out there on Saturday as well.
I'm going to ride, but I didn't train, so I'm a little worried.
They're going to smoke you, Jim. Be careful.
I bet they will. And lastly, I do want to ask you about Elizabeth Jenkins, of course, the wife of the late Jason Jenkins, who was so instrumental in raising this event to the next level. She has taken on as the chair of this event, and we did a piece with her, and she is also very inspirational.
Yeah, she is absolutely a powerhouse. If you go to the DCC website, she's obviously one of the top fundraisers for this event, but it really speaks to what this event is all about. She is doing it, in honor and in the legacy of what her husband left behind. Then I talked to, Michael Mandich. He's doing this in honor of his father, Jim Mandich, and then people like me who are doing it for my mom. Just anyone who's out there, it's all about carrying on that legacy and honoring those who have either lost their battle with cancer or those survivors who are still out there today, and celebrating them, because there's nothing like seeing them cross the finish line and then going right to ringing that bell as those survivors. Is truly something special to see.
Amen. Looking forward to seeing you out there.
Can't wait.
Okay, and I won't let you down. I'll be there.
Okay, good. I know you will.
All right. Lauren, thanks so much. And of course, join us this Saturday at noon. Live from the Dolphins Cancer Challenge at Hard Rock Stadium for our live CBS News Miami special, Challenging Cancer. We're going to take you to the finish line, have live interviews, and share the stories of the people like Robert who are at the center of this effort. That is Saturday at noon here on CBS Miami.